All right, everybody. Welcome to ProcessMaker's live stream. My name is Ethan Pressberg, and I am the Director of Technology Solutions here at ProcessMaker. And sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. Today we're going to be covering a new process that we've been putting together that is showcasing our latest acquisition of our IDP solution. So we're going to show you an invoice approval process. Now, what's so cool about this invoice approval process? Well, firstly, it doesn't require any human interaction. You're able to submit an invoice, or you can imagine a receipt or something else like that, and it can just be auto-approved based on some pre-configured business rules. And I want to remind everybody that we are keeping an eye on the chat, and if you have questions, want to engage, please feel free to to chat with JC and I. And I should also introduce my colleague JC. JC works with me on sorry guys, works with me on the team, and we both have collaborated on this this invoice approval process. So some of the stuff that you may see, and some of the stuff that's behind the scenes that we're gonna go through. So let me just take a sip. Sorry.
Yeah, you're choking. Hey
Yeah.
guys.
I don't know what's up today. So with our IDP solution, we will be doing classification on the document to understand, what kind of a document is it? Is it a invoice? Is it a transcript maybe? Is it a receipt? So in this case, we're going to classify only the invoice ones. We're going to extract the data from the document. In this case, it's going to be an invoice, and we're going to extract some fields. And we're going to also utilize our named entity recognition models. So think about things like natural language understanding. I mean, GPT-3 is all over the news now. So it's kind of somewhere in that stratosphere. The next thing we're going to show you that at ProcessMaker, we're pretty much a Google company. So we have Google single sign-on for most of our demos. So you'll see how that works. We're going to initiate the process from an anonymous web entry. So you'll be able to see, you can embed this in your website, and you don't even need to have any authentication required to kick off this process. There's zero code written. Not a single line of code was written in this process. We're going to showcase our data connectors in order to be able to connect to different parts of the system. We're using our loop task, which is a very awesome feature, I think, and I know that Brian's gonna get me on that very awesome. But it basically repeats the task, in this case, to get the information from the IDP once it's finished scanning and doing all of its intelligence and data processing and stuff. And then we're gonna have one option when I show you the process map where you can, if it's an exception above the threshold that is allowed for auto approval, it'll be also approved outside the system, but via email to ProcessMaker. I mentioned we're going to be using dynamic business rules, and that this is going to be an automated approval. We're also going to generate a PDF for archiving purposes and corporate policies. And we also added a Slack integration where it just sends a message to a webhook or a channel to say that we just to send a message. Just want to check. Can the audience see and hear everything okay? Just if somebody in the stream, I see we've got a couple of people here. If you can just give me a quick thumbs up or something in the chat, just to let me know that everything's good, I'd really appreciate that. And in the meantime, let us go ahead with get right into the demo. So, as you can see, this is a ProcessMaker login screen. Very exciting. I'm gonna log in with Google single sign-on, like I mentioned. I'm gonna log in with my ProcessMaker account since that's the one that's set up. And you can see we're logged right in as my user. And for those of you who may not have seen ProcessMaker yet, this is the processes or think of it like your process design studio, right? So you can edit your processes, create processes, and so in this case, I'm actually going to show you guys what the process map looks like before we jump in, just so you have an idea. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to start from a web entry, which is something you can embed in your own website and doesn't require logging into ProcessMaker. Then we've got a custom connector that we've made to our own, well, that doesn't make any sense, sorry. This is our connector to our IDP product. So we're basically uploading the invoice and processing it. And afterwards, we're going to, as I mentioned, loop to get until the invoice has been processed and we can get its associated data. And then we want to check for the business rules to see, what is the threshold. Based on the threshold, it'll go to, if it's auto-approved, we'll get a Slack notification. It'll store the PDF for corporate policy and update accounts payable. If it is above the threshold, in this case, I think that the setting is set at $100,000. If it's not auto-approved, so it's above that threshold, then we'll send an email, and we'll see what that looks like for that exception. Which, if it gets approved, then awesome, it goes to Slack to update. Otherwise, it goes to just sends an email rather than a Slack, because if someone gets rejected, you want to be a little more sensitive. So yeah, so that's the process. Let's go ahead and see what that actually looks like. So I've got here this web entry. This could, by the way, this can easily be done or replicated for a mobile app. So you can see our form builder is definitely responsive in its design. And so where is this invoice? So let's take a look. So this one, I got an invoice here. I pretty much took this straight from like an Office 365 template. So you can see this is for Happiest Valley Farms. The total invoice is $3,000. JC, what do you say? What should we make this one for the first one? Something under 100K.
So say 80K.
80K? All right. So let's make it 80,000. Obviously, this is not right because I'm not calculating the whole column here, but just for the sake of the demo, I'm just showing you once it gets calculated and done, 80,000. Let's save this, and now we can upload this in our form. So this is going to be the yes auto approve, or no, not that one, rather wrong folder. Sorry. Yes auto approve, and we've just uploaded that document, and I pre-populated information with my information, and we're going to hit submit, and then the process has been kicked off. Now, if I open up my requests, I can see that this request number 195 was initiated and already completed. So if I open up my Slack channel, then as you can see right here, this just came in. Good news, your request number 186 for payment to Happiest Valley Farms. You see this is being derived from the document with our IDP, as is the purchase order number and the fact that it's been approved. Well, that came from ProcessMaker. So you're able to see how that worked. So that was an auto approval. I'm showing you ProcessMaker, but in effect, it was basically just submitting this and getting a Slack notification. So, and I also mentioned that we generate the PDF. So this is the invoice exception that we generate. So you can see it's also pulled it through the information. You know, the purchase order number, the invoice amount, the 80,000 that JC prompted, the net terms, all that good stuff. It pulled through. So now let's do the one with the actual approval part where you have to approve it via the email. So let's kick off another one. So this time, JC, what do you suggest we make for the non-auto approve version?
So in this case, it has to be greater than 100,000, right?
Right.
So say 150.
150. Come on. How about 1.5 mil? Let's go large or go home.
All right, that.
So that's 150. Is that 1.5? That's not. This is 1.5. There we go. We're going big or going home. And now let's come back here again. Let's upload that file. In this case, the non-auto approve, and submit that. Now, if this gets auto approved, then I've got some kind of bug in my code or my process, but I hope it does not. So let's go back here to our list of open tasks. Wow, you gotta love live streams. Like, wow. JC and I tested this for a couple hours this morning and did not get an error. I don't even know how that's possible. Maybe it's because of the amount. Well, maybe I shouldn't have gone big or gone home. So maybe let's just reduce that by 1, 0. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. These things always happen when you're live. And it looks bad, right? But anyways, hopefully this works. Unreal. Alright, let's see. Wow, that is awesome. Let me use a different. Oh, I think I understand why. Yeah. Okay, sorry, my bad, guys. If this is not the reason, then I will try something else. But this is a live stream, right? It's different to a webinar, so it's a bit of a different, more relaxing, no pressure, you know, if you don't get things right? Because this does work. So any questions yet from anybody in watching the live stream? I see we got quite a number of people watching. No one has any questions or anything?
So one thing to mention is that so whenever you finish processing that invoice, so one thing you haven't mentioned was like ProcessMaker is able to send that information to an ERP system or whatever system, in this case, the client might be using, like Microsoft Dynamics, SAP, or whatever ERP system they might be using.
Right. No, that's a good point, JC. Absolutely. So I think that was the issue. So let me refresh this one more time, and there we go. Okay. So there was something about the digits that I'll check later for the formatting or something. But so we submitted it for 150K. We can see that it's actually pending right now. It was not auto approved. We can see that that is the status. And now let me open up my email, and here we go. This is the invoice exception. So we can see this is from Happiest Valley Farms for 150K. And then, sorry, this one is the 150K. Reply with approve. And so you can see we're bringing in the Happiest Valley Farms Incorporated supplier name, and we're bringing in the purchase order number and the amount of the invoice, and we can approve or reject it. So now what's happening behind the scenes is ProcessMaker is reading the the response from the user, that in this case the approval that I hit the button, and it's routing the workflow. So shortly we should see, if not already, yeah, see already it's been completed. So we can see that all the information that was extracted from the invoice document was pulled through. We could see that the invoice type was the document type was an invoice. We can see what the file name was, all the data that we want to be pulling through, we're pulling through. We can see the threshold that we've got. All that metadata is available here. And again, we've got the files. In this case, it's the Word doc that we uploaded. You can see it's available here to download, and it's also available within our IDP. So just coming back here to the process, we can see that we were able to upload this document, and we got a question here. YouTube isn't the best for live commenting. Requires you to create a YouTube channel to comment in the chat. Huh. Thanks for that feedback, Thomas. I will. I think that might be a setting maybe that we can configure to not require you that. But thank you for the feedback. We'll definitely look into that for the next time. Thank you. So we can see that we uploaded the document, our IDP processed it, and we got the data back, checked for the auto approves, made the decision of whether it's auto approved or not. In the first example that we ran, it was auto approved, and we can see how we did that here in our field expression field. You can see we're checking for IDP attributes invoice total amount is less than the actual threshold, then we send it this way. Otherwise, if we're just doing a negation on that, then it goes to the other way. It's a pretty binary and simple routing, but it's very dynamic. And then we create that document and update accounts payable. Now, let's take a look at those tables. So ProcessMaker has a feature called collections. You can think of them, if you're familiar with ProcessMaker 3, you can think of it sort of as PM3 tables. However, if you it's a little different to PM3 tables because, for example, it auto creates REST connectors, what we call data connectors, that you can update and interact with the data as well automatically, which is pretty awesome. So in this case, the invoice auto approve, this is the table that I mentioned. In this case, I only have the single business rule, so we're querying for the auto approve threshold, and as we can see, rule type is less than, and the rule value is 100,000. So that's why when it was less than 100,000, as you can see, that's how we tied that together. Now, there's also the accounts payable. So in this case, it's a mock database, but in the future, we'll be adding things like integrating with SAP, like JC was mentioning, Microsoft Dynamics, other types of ERPs that we can simply push the data to with our data connectors. Or also, we're investigating also using things like attended versus unattended robots with RPA, where we can maybe, as a lot of you might know, SAP is, let's just say, it's not the easiest to integrate with. So it's a very common for people to use RPA bots to log in, like, to the system or the website, and automate that via a macro type situation. So that's the kind of stuff that we can do at the end. So this part simply gets populated at this point of update accounts payable, and you can see we're sending all that data directly there. So that's pretty much what we had planned to show. And I understand from Thomas that it's not the easiest right now to interact with us like this. So if anybody has questions or anything, happy to field those and answer. But otherwise, I hope this was interesting, and I hope that this was useful. And if you want to see this or use this in your own company, please reach out to either, if you're a current customer, to your customer success manager, or if you are thinking about buying ProcessMaker, mention this maybe to your sales rep, or just fork or clone the ProcessMaker repo, which in case you're not aware, it's right here on GitHub. You can just clone this or fork it, and you can use it. Although I will mention there are some enterprise features. So for example, the invoice approval you won't be able to do, but but yeah, you'll be able to play around with ProcessMaker. And stay tuned because we're going to be releasing soon a new way of installing ProcessMaker with some updated Dockerized scripts. That didn't make sense, but I said it. So I guess no questions. Oh, I think there's a question coming in. Um, how do we do the connection settings between IDP? How do we tell it where to go? That's a good question. So over here on the settings side, we've got a configuration page. Uh, you can try a copy of this. It's not going to help. And then the username we're logging in with and the ID, the folder ID. So this is where we configure our stuff for the IDP. Any other questions I can answer? Great. Well, then I think we will end the live stream here. This is kind of pretty much the the mark that we had intended for to get to. So yeah, thanks everybody. And I don't know if JC, is there anything you want to say before we close the stream?
No, I think you've shown everything what we planned, and I think for people listening to this live stream, actually, if they kind of thinking to automate like this invoice processing, it would save a lot of time because I know whenever you do manually these, you can make many mistakes, right? Whenever you're typing in the data, where you have it automated, obviously this would save a lot of time for you and money. So that's really what I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, JC. Well,
Right.
if that's it, no other questions, then, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next live stream. And like Thomas, feel free to leave the feedback as brutal and as honest as you can. That is the only way we can improve going forward. And I hope you all have a great, restful weekend.
Right. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye bye.